Here.
Joel.
Here.
Bart.
Gotta turn our volume on.
Bart.
Yes, she's here.
White is absent. Hinderman here. Bowden.
Here.
Andrews.
Here. Proof of giving public meeting notice, Aaron.
Yep. Notices were posted at both schools and sent to the Village of Dickeyville, Cuba City City Hall, and members of media on Monday, February 16th.
Thank you. Item 3 is a consideration of the consent agenda. Are there any items A through D that the board would like hold for further discussion? Hearing none, when someone move.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
I will second.
I'm going to give it to Dan. Sorry, Angie, who's the second before you. Schweigert.
Yes.
Joel.
Yes.
Barth.
Yes.
Hinderman. Yes. Bowden.
Yes.
Andrews.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Moving to administrative reports. Jason, the elementary report, please.
All right. January 10th, 10 Cuba City Elementary students represented their grades to compete in our local spelling bee for the 3rd through 5th grades. Congratulations to our top 3 finishers. 3rd place, Phoebe Brewer. 2nd place, Declan Tranel. And our champion, Addie Burmeyer. Addie moved on to compete at the regional level, hosted at Southwest Community Technical College by CESA 3, where she finished 12th out of 28 consistents. We thank Addie for being a standout representative for Cuba City Elementary at the regional spelling bee competition the past 3 years. Also, a thank you to the grade level teachers for determining our local contestants, Mrs. Katie Audetta for serving as the MC, Mrs. Robin Hartwig and Mrs. Nancy Davies for serving as judges, and Miss Jessica Lupker for coordinating the event. It was a quick spelling bee this year, but sometimes those words are challenging, so it went well. Additionally, Addie Burmeyer was recognized by the Knights of Columbus as the top candidate in the annual knowledge contest. Addie placed first in both the spelling and math contests, so Addie's having a big month. We have some student shout outs, which have become a regular occurrence in our morning announcements to recognize students for doing the little things that make our school community a great place to learn and grow. I do want to take this moment for an opportunity for a staff shout out for Mrs. Jessie Denar for being masterful in organizing our needs for substitute coverage in the classrooms, especially through the seasonal cold and flu weeks that we've been through. It's not an easy task, and she's done fantastic with it. The Sunshine Club treated staff to some snacks on January 20th, so thank you to Mrs. Sarah Williams, Miss Melanie Kirschbaum, Mrs. Amanda Gall, Miss Jessica Lubker, and Miss Becky Egan for planning and providing a timely lift me up for all the staff. On February 4th, I participated in the Raising Wisconsin's Children virtual conference hosted by the University of Wisconsin-Madison Division of Extension. The theme of the conference was helping children thrive when life gets tough. And sessions I attended focused on resilience, supporting language, compassionate caregiving, emotional regulation, and strategies to help tweens build through mental health. There are many resources available to families statewide through the UW Extension, something I don't think is shared out and advertised a lot, so I'm going to make that a focus of some of my community shares in our upcoming Cuban communicators. On February 3rd, language arts class students from the middle and high school joined classes at the elementary school for a DEAR, Drop Everything and Read Day. Students read to our 4K through 2nd grade students, providing a very positive experience for all students and staff. I want to thank Ms. Sharon Olson for organizing this opportunity and all the staff between the buildings for coordinating together. We look forward to another DEAR Day in April. On February 6th, Cuba City Elementary staff, teachers, and paraprofessionals met during professional development time to discuss and explore compassion, resiliency support, something that Ms. Kasper and myself, along with some other staff members, have been focusing on for this year. And then scheduling for forward testing is complete for 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade classes. They'll be testing in March. Grade level staff collaborated with myself, Mrs. Kasper, and Mrs. Jordan Hinderman, our district assessment coordinator, to review past practices and identify testing groups, needed accommodations, testing locations and conditions, and any changes to testing factors that could be made in order to provide students with the best opportunity to demonstrate their abilities and knowledge.
Thank you, Jason. If there's no questions, we'll move to Chris for the middle and high school report.
Okay, so we're gonna start with
Alright.
robotics.
Jesse, they'll probably.
You can sit at Sarah's.
Oh, I could. Yeah.
Hi, we are Team 15382. I'm not a robot. My name's Cameron. I'm a senior, and I do management outreach in our social media.
I'm Bella. I'm a senior. I help with design the robot, outreach, and management. I'm Reese. I'm also a senior, and I help with outreach and social media.
I'm a senior. I do outreach management and social media.
Dulcet. I'm a junior. I do building, management, and outreach.
I'm Katie. I'm a junior and I do management and outreach.
I'm Izzy. I'm a junior and I do management and outreach.
I'm Brooklyn. I'm a junior. I do building, programming, CAD, design, all sorts of stuff.
So our outreach team uses many tools such as social media to help spread the word of robotics, not just to our local community, but to online as well. And this proved successful because one of our videos got over 1.3 million views.
Oh.
During the beginning of this month, we were invited to a scrimmage with Mineral Point. This was with Mineral Point FTC Ironclad. This was successful because it gave us the opportunity to give them ideas since they are a rookie team.
This season we had the opportunity to tour our biggest sponsor, OneUp's amazing engineering facility. And since they were our biggest sponsor, we have a sticker on the robot.
Just trying to, it's on the back.
Weird. And we're also making a plaque for them.
This year, we've also worked really closely with our PTO. Like in October, we helped them out with their trunk or treat. And this Sunday, we're going to help them out with their PTO bingo, which is in Dickeyville.
Yeah, so you might be having a little deja vu because we did present earlier this year, but we've got a lot we want to talk about. But this robot, if any of you guys recall, looks a lot different than it used to. A lot different. We stripped it down to the frame and then threw that out too. So we've got a lot of things to highlight. We've completely overhauled intake, outtake, just about everything about the robot, and we'll expand a bit more on that.
So focusing on the intake, we actually 3D printed this part of the intake, the sprockets. That's it. And then we put rubber bands around it to grab the ball better to make it all faster.
One thing that didn't change, probably the only thing that didn't change, was this camera on the front. It still enabled us to sense the April tag, and we'll show that in motion. It's actually very cool because I don't think we got to demonstrate it last time, but it takes the position that it reads from that April tag and then does a bunch of math to subtract the position where it is in space from where the wheels are, and then it moves it to line up. It's really nice for getting it into the goal consistently.
Another big part that we changed was our outtake. So after the balls go in through the intake, it goes up with using these two gecko wheels and then shoots out through a curved arc. And we can also adjust it depending on the best angle for what distance we want it. So that allows us to continue to be accurate.
Yeah, and then some things I'd like to highlight that aren't main parts, but I think are really cool, and I'd just like to call attention to. You can't really see it. I'll turn it up on its back. This is actually from scrap metal from Grant County Truck Bodies. Grant steel, so we can make ourselves heavier and easier to play defense. This wheel right here, this isn't some robotics part. We took it off a wheel from Menards that was supposed to go on a desk chair. And this is rubber tape for car with door jams, I think, to help us get the ball to go up the chute efficiently. So that's a lot of cool stuff that I'd like to highlight, which isn't as important, but I just think it's kind of cool.
And a rubber band from the janitors that we stole.
Borrowed.
Borrowed.
It almost looks like a combine head for.
Yeah, we accomplished a lot this season, but I think our proudest accomplishment is this award right here. So we mentioned before, we really focused on like the STEM outreach, just reaching out to our STEM communities, and then also just like our community, like the school, like we talked about before. So there you go. Any questions for us?
What is the award?
It's called the Connect Award.
And who was it from?
It's from the competition we went to about 2 weeks ago.
So every competition we have to go in and to present to judges, and then that's kind of like what we did right now. So we talk about our outreach, how we're like expanding the word of first, and then we talk about our robot. And then throughout the day, judges will come up to you and also talk to you and ask you various questions about your outreach and how you're connecting first to like your community. And so basically the judges thought that we did a really good job at expanding the word of first and connecting to our community.
Thank you.
Are your competitions done for the year now? Or do you
Yes.
still have
Yep. All done.
So what becomes of Mr. Robot?
Oh, he'll get torn apart next year. But for now, we can show you how he works because he's a lot different than last time.
Before you jump in, can I just
Absolutely.
what spurred you to just rebuild mid-season?
The last one wasn't good.
It was quite bad.
That's a hard thing to admit
Yeah.
to yourself, and I'm proud of you for recognizing we can do better.
More specifically, just to bore you with technical terms, our
Oh,
launch
go
angle
away.
was super inconsistent before because we were using wheels that had too much flex in them and the supports weren't super constrictive, and the launch angle, like it had too much freedom to let it go. So now with that curve and that chute that we have now, it's super consistent. One of the most consistent robots at any of the competitions we went to, which was really cool. And then we also changed out the motors that drive our wheels because before they were so old and the gearboxes were failing in multiple places. So we just were like, okay, you know what? We're going to use some of the money we got. We're going to buy new motors, and now she drives a lot smoother too. So those are two big things that we fixed. All right.
I will say I love your reels that you guys create. I like all of them. Really effective. So great job. And I actually hope Mr. Simon takes you guys into his entrepreneurship class and shows the how you repurpose different things. So that's fantastic job.
Thank you.
So is there a JV, I'm Not a Robot team? Meaning I see quite a few seniors, so how do you get other kids interested or?
This year we really focused on our like getting more people to join our team. So like these two right here plus like 3 more joined this year, and we used like our inner our relationships to like expose that.
Yeah, okay, they're not here, but we did double our team size, and we've taken 14 kids to competition now.
Nice.
A lot of them are juniors. We've got a sophomore, but we've got a lot of actually interested people coming in from the 8th grade that will be freshmen next year. We've got a lot of them to come in. They came in when we were like scheduling their classes, and they came in to talk to us. And we're like, yeah, come join robotics because
And
there's
yeah. I was just gonna say that's another part of like our social media and like our reels because it makes it look like robotics is fun, and like you don't just have to sit there working on the robot. Like half my night I'm scrolling trying to find reels, and then we also spend like hours. One video took so long to do. They remember. It just kind of shows like look at all this other stuff. Like come on, you don't have to just be into a robot. You can be into social media, and like that really helps too. And like yeah.
You've done a great job. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see it.
we're proud of this thing, so we're gonna make it run.
I think you should, if you haven't made it to a competition or watched it, you should know that there are 6 awards given out that are trophy awards, and those are solely based on the judging. And so only 1 Connect Award is given per competition, and only 1 Inspire Award, and only 1 Sustain Award, and only 1 Connect Award. And so we were the team to be chosen for this only award at this competition, which I think is a really big accomplishment for all of the hard work that they did. And then separate from the judging is their their competition on the map, on what their robot actually does. And that can be a way that you can then advance depending on how alliances work. So there's really two parts to the competition. It's not just the robot. There is the management side and the planning side and the presenting side. So
All right.
I'm gonna get this stool.
Wait, I'll get it.
No, please.
Okay. So this is actually part of the hoop that we shoot the ball in. And then this is the April tag that they scan to realign. And then since it's kind of broken down, it has like a backstop to stop the ball from going over. So
I don't know if you want to have that goal facing near any people
Yeah.
whatsoever.
I don't know. Is there anything about that?
Oh, shoot it at the live stream.
Yeah, shoot it over
Heads up.
here.
This gets a little loud sometimes when we start it running because the flywheels get loud. So just sorry.
34 pounds.
5 pounds.
34 pounds.
Yeah, so like this year, I'm sure they touched on it last time, you can play defense. So our first competition, we realized how big that can be and also how much that can wreck your robot if you're not like kind of beefed up enough. So that was one thing we knew we wanted to change if we wanted it to weigh more so that we couldn't get pushed around as much.
And then our main drivers. Our main.
I think in our first competition, didn't our plexi get like cracked down the absolute side?
So we got thicker
of it?
Lexi.
Yeah.
Our main drivers aren't here tonight, so bear with us. Okay, do you have a servo here to use? You're gonna scoop it up real quick. No, not even
Not that one.
that right there that you just saw engaged, that's a little servo gate. It keeps it, we have the capacity to hold 3 artifacts, which are what these little whistle balls are called, but it's hard with human error, so that just allows us to pick up 3 without having to worry. Alright. Okay, let's see if we're lined up. There we go. That is it driving to the April thing and locking on by itself. I'll see if I can make it do it again. So a bit more. He's breaking. He's breaking. There it is. I'm in the same angle. I think it's the light in here. You do a lot right there. Anyway, so then the paper server will get out. There you go. And then she'll go, and that's and it'll shoot cameras. It'll shoot cameras. But
it was very accurate
She signed up for that. So this is our low velocity. It doesn't look very impressive because it doesn't shoot very far. But it's actually perfect because if you shoot it at too. Oh, well, there it goes. If you shoot it too hard, you're going to end up rebounding off. There was a backboard on this, and you'll end up rebounding off of it.
What is great about this?
But yeah, I don't know if you remember from before because it was quite a long time ago, but this new intake's actually incredibly efficient. Make sure the server gets in. It manages to pick everything up really nice. Before, when we were trying to show you, it kept taking the balls away from us. That was another big issue that we wanted to fix. Our voltage is really low right now, which is kind of not helping. The batteries got cold. We didn't have it plugged in too much, so. Yeah, but I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. Where it doesn't look stupid.
There you go.
She's showing off now.
Yep. Because that happens in competition. Yep.
We hit Cameron all the time, which means something's got to be right because we're hitting the target every time. But we're really proud of where our robot came this season, especially after a full rebuild in just 2 weeks. That's almost unheard of, especially for us. So we're happy.
Nice job. Congratulations. Thank you.
I can grab the robot if you can grab the email.
Did you see it?
Okay,
So can you top
continuing on.
that?
I'm gonna go a little out of order here, but I've got some students here that I want to recognize. So several students competed at the FBLA competition, which was held on February 7th in Lancaster. Congratulations to all who qualified to move on to the state competition in Green Bay on April 13th and 14th. State qualifiers include Isabel Dinar, 3rd place in agribusiness, Faith Justman, 3rd place, computer apps, Reese Hill, 3rd place in cybersecurity, Elizabeth Franzen, 2nd place in hospitality and event management, Remington Rubish, 1st place in healthcare administration. So if you guys want to come on up. Lauren Gustafson and Josie Cruiser earned 4th place, and they'll serve as alternates in banking and financial systems. So I want to congratulate all the students that qualified, and also to Mr. Simons for a very successful first year with FBLA.
Thank you, ladies.
All right, so then moving on, several of our choir students were invited to participate in Honors Choir. Only 2 days of practice, they put on a show at the Darlington High School on Saturday, January 24th. Several band members were invited to participate in the Tri-State Honors Band at UW-Platteville on February 13th and 14th. All of our CTE groups have been busy planning events for the respective weeks. Ms. Merwin shared that FCCLA Plastic Collection has added a box at the elementary, and our current total is 420 pounds, so we're just a little bit under halfway. FCCLA also sold Valentines to students during lunch, which were delivered on Friday, February 13th. On Friday, February 6th, Ms. Merwin was able to take some students to visit the Pfizer Forum, where they were able to have chalk talk with the culinary operations team and then begin a Bucks game. FCCLA has a regional competition coming up on February 27th. 2 students will be competing in recycle and redesign by turning an old referendum board into a fidget board for Ms. Rupatella's students. And another student will be competing in culinary creations, which will have them decorating a cake with details from a certain movie. Mass media students will be highlighting all of our youth apprentice students over the next several months. FFA had 10 students compete in the leadership development events at Platteville High School. 4 middle school students competed in the FFA Quiz Bowl. 2 high school students competed in extemporaneous speaking. 2 high school students competed in the discussion competition, and 2 competed in creed speaking. Ms. Van Scandel shared that Allie Majerus qualified as the alternate for creed speaking. National FFA Week will kick off on Sunday, February 22nd, and we'll have 2 students visit lawmakers at our state capitol. Clayton Doherty and Landon Bush are going to be discussing the importance of agricultural education at the capitol. FFA members are planning fun activities for the week, which will end with an all-school assembly featuring Laura Daniels from Hitchpin, which is a dairy consulting firm. Middle school held its annual spelling bee. Congratulations to Elliot Williams for earning 1st place. Kennedy Clendenin took 2nd place, and Emerson Harris came in 3rd. Elliot went on to compete at the CISA Regional Spelling Bee on February 4th. Also held was the annual Geography Bee. Congratulations to Carter Clendenin as he took 1st place for the 3rd year in a row. Tyson Timmerman took 2nd place. Elliot Williams earned 3rd place. Middle school wrestling and girls basketball have both finished great seasons, and our middle school students are all gearing up for the track and field season. Before that happens, though, Miss Williams and Miss Updike Ames have revealed the upcoming performance of Big Bad. It's a play that's centered around the trial of the Big Bad Wolf and all his transgressions in the Enchanted Forest. There will be a performance for the school on March 19th at 1:15 in the afternoon, and for the community on March 20th at 6 p.m. Thank you to Ms. Burkett for taking several students to the Battle of the Books competition in Dubuque on February 13th. Shane Robson, Elizabeth Franzen, Reese Hill, Brooklyn Brewer, Aubrey Myers, and Zoe Yos made up our team. They competed against area schools including Hempstead, Dubuque Senior, East Dubuque, and Wallert. Our team tied for 5th place. Forensics competed at Schallsburg on Monday, February 16th for sub-district competition. We have approximately 50 students involved in forensics this year, and all of them qualified to move on to the next competition. Congratulations to Trayton Ames. He shot up 145 out of a possible 150 in the Wisconsin Regional Archery Competition, qualified for the sectional tournament, which was held February 8th in Beloit. He then competed at the sectionals on February 14th in Mosinee and qualified for the state tournament, which is going to be held this weekend, February 21st in La Crosse. So we wish good luck and good skill to Trayton, and he said that he has his sights on making it to the national championship. Finally, I would like to give a shout out to our high school staff for all their hard work in making our ACP time so valuable for our students. They are engaging students in career-based lessons and helping our students be prepared for their journey after high school. And I want to throw a special thank you to our ACP team, which includes Sarah Williams, Susan Meyer, Nancy Merwin, Tina Burkett, Angie Davis, Austin Simons, Melissa Gilstrap, and they've all been very busy creating all the lessons that are for our staff and students. It's been an amazing addition to our school this year.
Thank you, Chris. Any questions? Whitney, special ed, please.
Yes, we have had 3 staff members complete the training for the DLM assessment. The DLM assessment measures the academic progress of students with the most significant cognitive disability in the areas of ELA and mathematics in grades 3 through 11, science at grades 4 and 8 through 11, and then in social studies in grades 4, 8, and 10. This is an online assessment delivered via the computer. However, some students may need their teacher to present the items to them. The teacher will then enter the students' responses into the online platform. So this replaces the forward exam. So I did link in more information if you would like to become more knowledgeable in that. Currently, we have 43 students signed up for our 4K screener event, which starts tomorrow and Friday. And then on Friday, we also currently have 6 students signed up for our 3-year-old play date. So we are very excited for that. We're set up and ready to go. Lisa Mueller attended a training at CISA this month, FBA, the Wisconsin Way. This session equipped teams with tools to understand the function and the root cause of behaviors that interfere with the students' learning through a functional behavior assessment, using the Wisconsin DPI 2025 FBA resources, exploring clearer consent rules, directly connecting function and root cause to culturally responsive practices, and exploring the FBA toolkit. She learned how to use FBAs to develop and implement effective behavior intervention plans when the function and the root cause of behaviors are linked to targeted evidence-based intervention and positive behavioral supports. So that is something her and I will begin to work on throughout this year. On Tuesday, February 10th, I attended a training at CISA 3, Wired to Thrive 2.0. It was a full-day interactive workshop designed to strengthen school and district systems that support mental wellness for both students and staff through the lens of trauma-sensitive schools, comprehensive school mental health, and educational neuroscience. We explored how behavior, biology, and systems align, intersect to create thriving learning environments with wellness at the forefront. This training provided important information on how to support all students within our district, as well as a variety of resources and strategies I hope to implement this year and next. National School Counselors Week was February 2nd through the 6th. Thank you to Jordan Hinderman, Angela Balkin, and Angie Davis for your dedication to students, families, and teachers of the Cuba City School District. Your work does not go unnoticed. Mary Burrows' class participated in a STEM project last week that involved 15 marshmallows, 8 straws, 25 popsicle sticks, and candy hearts. Students were placed into groups and were given a task to build a bridge that was 4 inches high and 4 inches long. The task was to build a bridge that held the most candy hearts. Students worked together on their math skills, communication skills, and collaboration with peers. The winning team's bridge was able to hold 100 candy hearts. So the love was felt on Friday the 13th. Didn't think I'd say those words. Thank you to the Cuba City Elementary staff and students for showing your appreciation towards Jason and myself. Students and staff decorated wooden hearts for me and rocks for Jason. They gifted them to us throughout the day. Jason and I just want to extend our appreciation to all involved with the organizing this. We are grateful to work with such supportive and fun staff. And we know that Jesse had something to do with the engraving of the bowls, so thank you. That was very nice. Last but not least, if you were on the elementary playground, you may have noticed a low-tech AAC.
Students who are utilizing an alternative communication device now have the opportunity to utilize an AAC banner with a variety of visuals. Our young learners were very intrigued and interested while I put that up this week. So we sent a couple staff to a training earlier in the fall, and Kessa Jacobs won it at the conference, but we didn't want to put it up with the snow and all of that. So we hung it up and they were very curious. I know our 3 through 5 are asking when they're getting theirs. So we'll have to look into that.
So you're saying the snow's done?
I hope so. Jinxing it.
Thank you, Whitney.
Yes.
You're gonna get blamed now.
Yeah.
I watched the forecast.
It's same with the Q word. You don't
It
say.
seemed, notice it was crickets this morning they sent out.
Heather, business report, please.
Yep, so my report is linked online, my normal report. But I wanted to give a short presentation on something new. We're calling it the financial scorecard. This came out of the state convention, a session that Gary attended. And then he sat down with me and shared some information and just asked if this is something that I would be willing to put together for the district. So I'll kind of, there's a lot of information here. It's going to be a lot to digest. This financial scorecard will be linked from this month going forward. So I'm not going to touch on it every single month. I'm just going to give you guys an overview so that you guys know what to look for. But it will be linked from every month from here on out. So this first tab along the bottom, it's just a summary tab. So you can see DPI report status. We also have a tab down here. I did not create this. This came from, Gary, correct me if I'm wrong, CSUB 5.
Yes.
Okay. So then it just shows each month how many DPI reports are due. And then as I complete them, if I complete all of them, then it's going to show completed. You can see March and April, there are no DPI reports that are due. May too. As I'm working on things, then it's going to show either like not started or a work in progress. This next section is bank reconciliation. We have 4 checking accounts. And I'm going to go over each individual tab, so don't worry. So every single month, as I'm doing monthly cash recs, then this information will be updated. Just to give you guys a little background knowledge on bank recs, Mr. Olson does sign off on all the bank reconciliations, so it's not just me looking at it. After the monthly cash recs have been done, then I give the paperwork to Mr. Olson, and then he signs off on it. So there are another set of eyes looking at it. It's not just me. Then the last section on this summary is grant claims. You can see throughout the fiscal year, there are several claims that need to be done. And again, just like up above, as those claims are submitted, you can see completed, work in progress, or not started. So this is just the summary tab. And then if you want to click on the individual tabs, you can just scroll down and see here all the reports. I don't necessarily complete all of these myself. I would say the majority of them I am completing. They're like the pupil count report. That's not something I submit. Jesse submits that. But for the most part, I am responsible for submitting this information. So some of them are required. Some of them are like as needed or as necessary. So you can see as the fiscal year goes on, here's all the reports that I have to submit to DPI. Monthly bank recs. Again, we have 4 checking accounts. So you can just see as I'm working on my end of month cash recs, you can see the progress there. Grant claims. I don't typically, just because the beginning of the fiscal year for me We're still working to like set budgets and get numbers. So I usually don't submit claims until November. I submit monthly claims. I would say as long as school districts are submitting quarterly claims, there's no like rule that you have to submit quarterly, but it's suggested to do at least quarterly. I submit monthly claims. There are some months I'm just going to use the month of November. I don't remember back, but let's just say Title I private. We might not have any money to claim. That basically means we spent the money. I have to turn around and go to WISE grants, and then I have to claim that money, and then we get reimbursed for that money that we spent. If we've spent no money, or let's just say it's $25 or $250, it's not worth my time, and then I have to code the revenue. It's not worth it. I still say done, but this does not mean that every single month I'm submitting a claim. Once I submit it, then Mr. Olson has to approve it, and then it goes to DPI. DPI reviews the information that's been submitted. Then they approve it, and then it takes up to, about 14 days for the district to see those funds in our account. So you can just see each month all the different claims that need to be submitted. Certain ones are monthly. The COPS grant, that's a new grant that we got this year. There are certain reports for that grant that are due quarterly. And then at the end of the fiscal year is very heavy because some of these ones towards the bottom, the peer-to-peer, educator effectiveness, AODA, robotics, those you just submit one per year. There's no reason to do it quarterly or monthly. And then this other tab is, it's very long, but this is just going to go from the start of the fiscal year through the end of the fiscal year. Different reports that I maybe create, and this is just in the business office. This is nothing HR related. So this is anything in the business office, including payroll, of any reports that are due like at the state, the federal level. It's been a report that's maybe been requested from the board. So I'm not going to go through because this one is very long. I'll just maybe pick out a few months, but in July, there's food service claims. Then you can see there's a bunch of monthly reports that I give to the board every single month. Our Fund 21 accounts, so those are our fundraising accounts. This is something new that was started when I started here. We provide detailed activity reports on the revenue side and on the expense side to all of our advisors and coaches so that they can see what money is coming in and the money going out. And just make sure that I call it transactions, to make sure all transactions that are appearing on their report should be on their report. I also send monthly budget reports to staff. There's monthly reports that go to Mr. Olson, and then I hold monthly budget meetings with the different department heads, and you can see the different departments that I meet with. And so then again, this is just going through the entire fiscal year of all reports that need to be done, maybe prepping for the annual meeting, budget work, getting teacher classroom budgets ready, getting department budgets ready for the next fiscal year. And then like in January, if we look at January, you guys have heard me talk about like when Ashley or myself are submitting like the 1099s, the W-2s. So some of this information that you're seeing on here is also what I do report to the board as well. But now you'll be able to kind of track my progress as the fiscal year goes on. So this is just a real quick tutorial of this document. Gary, do you have anything that you wanted to add?
All I was going to say is thank you, and for the board, I went to a 3.5 hour finance special session on Tuesday of that week, and a couple other 1 hour sessions. And basically what I was hearing is that school districts such as Milwaukee had failed to do their reports to DPI. And the board didn't know it. And we were basically being told we should be more aware of what financially is going on. And then I went to the one that was hosted by CISA 5, and that's where, basically it was so in-depth, and it was like, how could I ask somebody to do something that maybe is at least simple, not that that looks simple, but at least something that you could at least say, we know what's going on, or we know financially how the district is doing. So I don't know if I guess it would be more for the board if that's not something you want. Heather probably could save herself some work. If you like it or want it tweaked, why?
I think it's gonna take a few months just to get used to it before there are any suggestions.
Heather,
As
did
a
you have to
tweak.
create that from scratch, or did you get a template to start
So
with?
I did get a template. I would say like the bank reconciliation report, they just had one, and I thought it was important to list all 4, because there are some times where, let's say, one particular account, it's not balancing, and maybe it usually it's between the general fund. I'm just going to call it Fund 10 and Fund 49. Sometimes it's between there. So it might sit in progress for a while until we can okay, it's off $1,640. That was actually something I knew what it was, but if you would have looked at this 3 weeks ago for the month of January, this would have showed as in progress because I was off the same amount. I knew what it was. It just, I have to find time in my week to dedicate just to, okay, I need to focus on what journal entries do I need to do to fix that.
So to hold you accountable as well then.
Yes, and I probably spent the most time on this other tab. And then I did talk with Ashley Blonick. As you guys know, she does payroll for the school district. So I did add to this list. This list was a lot shorter. And then I was like, well, if we're going to add 1 through 10 on here or 1 through 50, there are a lot of other things that I'm doing that I think it's important for the board to know. There are other people looking at the financials, not just the board, but within the district. There's a lot of procedures and policies that we have in place to protect the finances of the district. Every week, Mr. Olson sits down with Julie Kaiser. They review the weekly bill basket. And then there's a check after the check run is done to make sure that the basket and the total that the two of them approved is the total checks that actually went out the door, to make sure the total matches. So there are a lot of checks and balances in place that we're doing. Last two years ago, we were able to remove an audit finding that has been an audit finding. It was a management, what do they call it? A management recommendation that has been on the audit report since well before I came here, and it had to do with segregation of duties. And because of the procedures that we put in place within the last 5 years, the audit team felt comfortable with what we were doing, that they then removed that management response that had been out there for, like I said, well longer than I've been here. This is my 10th year, longer than 10 years. So I was really excited that that very old finding was finally able to be removed. Aaron, do you have anything that you want to add?
No, I just saw this for the first time today as we walked through it. And, there's a lot on that other page.
Yeah, yep, there's a lot. So And I'm sure there's probably something that even I'm missing. You're probably not going to notice if I add one item or 10 items. You're probably not really going to notice it. But just wanted to present this to everyone.
I was gonna say also that finance was a big subject of the whole school board convention with the struggles that districts are having. And in fact, I was surprised CISA 5 is actually doing Heather's work in essence in many school districts, and some of them are actually struggling to get their financial reports done, let alone reports to DPI. So thank you.
Moving on to discussion. I don't know that there's any need for.
Skip me?
Oh, I'm sorry, I did. Skipped right over you.
I've got a couple things.
I was in a hurry here.
Okay, construction update. We met earlier with the special meeting, but just as we can all clearly see, the exterior walls for the gym are up, but there's still a lot of work to do. We're still about 11 months out from gaining full access to the gym. We're targeting by February 1st to be in that whole section everywhere. Up next is the roof, and then we've got the subfloor, and expect that to sit about 6 weeks where the roof decking will be installed. And then there's a lot of work to do below the concrete as well in the gym floor. So that takes us right to spring break, and beginning Friday, April 3rd, there's going to be some work done out by the track entrance and exit and the high school locker rooms and existing middle school gymnasium, trying to get ready for that air conditioner. So that's just kind of what's in the foreseeable future. In FEMA this week, the states involved in the lawsuit filed a motion asking the court to force FEMA to follow the judge's December 25 order. That earlier order said FEMA must reverse its decision to end the BRIC program. According to the states, FEMA hasn't taken any steps following that, whether to go along with it or to appeal. The new filing asks the court to require FEMA to provide clear updates with specific timelines to everybody who was a BRIC recipient in 24, 25, 26, and that's us. So if the court agrees, FEMA would have to act quickly and provide detailed reports within 7, 14, 21, and 45 days. There's different items there. This motion could push FEMA to either move forward or take it back to Congress for a final decision. So we'll continue to monitor that and let you know what's going on. Change in state budget. This is kind of a big deal right now. In the 25-27 state budget called Act 15, the state said it would pay for 42% reimbursement for special education costs for the 25-26 school year. This was great news for Cuba City and schools across Wisconsin because special education hasn't been fully funded in many years. About 2 months ago, or 2 months later, after it was approved, DBI told schools that there wasn't enough money set aside to keep that promise. The payment was now expected to be closer to 35. By that time, schools had approved their budgets. State aid did not go up to make up the difference, and this has never happened in Wisconsin before. There are now talks between Governor Evers and Speaker Voss about whether some of the state's state surplus money could go to schools, including special education funding. Nothing's been decided yet, but we hope the state will provide stable and reliable funding for schools moving forward. Last week, the 5 largest school districts in Wisconsin got together and wrote a combined letter encouraging the state to work as bipartisan as possible and try to come up with a solution that helps schools and also curbs property taxes. Some other groups of schools have done that. We met today as a CISA group to see if we wanted to write a CISA letter. There were some districts that weren't comfortable with that. Tomorrow we're meeting to see if our conference is comfortable in coming up with a letter, basically just asking them, hey, put aside politics and do what's best for taxpayers and for schools. I wanted to see if that's something that the board would be interested in coming up with, drafting. Of course, if we do proceed with that, we would likely have a special meeting where you guys could see the exact wording, vote to approve it before we do that. That could be done on Zoom, so it wouldn't have to be a in-person meeting. But is there any interest in Cuba City being part of a group that writes to the state legislature?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, I would be.
I would agree.
Okay. Of course, the wording's going to be, that
Legalese.
that's going to be the intent. But before we send it off, we'll have your eyes on it for sure. One of the important things to understand about school finance here in Wisconsin is something called the revenue limit. In simple terms, it's the cap the state places on how much total money a school district can raise each year. That total comes from a combination of state aid and local property taxes. And for Cuba City, our revenue limit sets the maximum amount we're allowed to spend per student. The state decides that number. That's not a number that we decide. What changes is where the money comes from. So the formula determines if there's more state aid, there's going to be less collected in property taxes. If there's more collected in property taxes, there's less in state aid. And the reason I'm bringing this up is at the State Education Convention, I happen to be with a district that was less than 10% aided. We're about 67% aided by the state. And so when there's a state change and 90% of your funding comes from property taxes because you live on a lake, the state budget cuts don't really impact those districts. And so that's something that's important to know. Across Wisconsin, districts look different. A lot of districts receive more than 80% of their revenue, and others receive less than 20% and rely mostly on property taxes. But because of historic decisions and past referendums, some districts are allowed to spend several $1,000s more per student than others. So even though we all operate under the same rules, it doesn't all start from the same place. Some districts spend $24,000 per student. Some spend $16,000 per student. And that's just kind of some of the differences. This is just important to know when these decisions are made in Madison, it really impacts us here locally. So just keep in mind that the revenue limit, and even though they're trying to keep apples to apples, there's a big difference between spending $16,000 a student and $28,000 a student. School calendar item, we had some weather in January. Due to having 2 traditional snow days, along with several late starts in January that week, it was so cold because of weather, and we've only had 1 virtual day so far. We're currently short a small number of instructional minutes for the 3rd quarter. And after reviewing our options, we looked at we could add 1 day to the end of the calendar, or we could turn 3 Fridays into full days instead of releasing it at 2 o'clock. And we thought instead of doing that at the end of the year, closer in May and June, we'd like to do that in the quarter that we missed those minutes. So we'd like to move forward and go with Friday, February 27th, March 6th, and March 13th. It's 3 straight weeks. It's not this Friday. It'll be next Friday. And then the 2 after that. Those fall all within the same 3rd quarter and get those minutes back in the same quarter that we lost those. So we looked at other ideas for that, but we thought this has the least disruption in maintaining continuity of student learning. So while calendar adjustments like this don't have to go to the board for action, we've had a lot of conversations about calendar. I wanted to bring that up and just see if you guys are okay with us. We think that's the best route to go for getting those minutes back. See if there were any objections. I'm seeing nodding heads, which means that's good. Yeah. That's all I have for today.
Got to do what you got to do there for making up the minutes. All right. Thank you, Aaron. All right, now discussion. The building project, can we just skip that? Or
yeah, we are. That's going to be on there every month,
right.
But the months that we have a special meeting before, we'll probably just skip it.
So move to B, the naming of the new gymnasium or courts.
Yeah, it's kind of tradition when you build a new section, you want to bring over some things that are meaningful from the old to the new. And in talking about this with a lot of different people, I heard kind of the same type of thing as we're going to name that after Pastina, right? Coach Pastina. And so that's one thing I'd like to bring up as we're in kind of the branding phase or the painting phase and what's going to go on the floor. I met with Coach Pastina about this, and he's far too humble to accept this willingly. So we kind of have to push this on him. And as Carrie and I talked, he's like, guys, I don't need that. And Carrie and I recognize he doesn't need that. We want to provide that. We want to have that court or that gym, and we're still working with him on ways that he'd be more comfortable with it. But I just wanted to see if the board was okay with us looking towards some gym aspect of that being named after Coach Pastina, who has kind of set a standard of excellence in Cuba City. And as far as the numbers go, 14 state appearances, 9 state titles. Both are a record from any coach that we don't think will probably ever be broken. So those are some of those types of things that we'd like to recognize either him or his family or something in that way. So I just wanted to open that up for discussion and see if you're okay with us going down that road.
I'm in full support of that.
I am as well. Yep. I think I see all positives. So Angie?
I would 100% support that.
Okay.
I think you've got lots of opportunities to explore with that as well. I mean, if you wanted to do a Christina's Plaza or whatever with all of his trophies in that, you know, in one area, I think there's different ways to approach this as well, especially if he doesn't want that notoriety.
I am thinking of like Bob Johnson in the Cool Center, like also a huge name, but like it's more his quote, something that meant something to him is represented in that space. So I think there's a lot of opportunity within this, but fully agree with honoring him in some way.
So you're possibly talking in terms of when we redo that hallway that's got all of the trophies in it, making it
Potentially. I mean, I think there's,
into Festina Plaza,
I
if
just
that's
don't
what you
want to
said.
isolate it to one area. I think there's a lot of things that we could think around that whole idea.
But
And
we're-
if it is something recognizing the family that he's more comfortable with, I think that's a good option as well.
I love the idea.
All right. Very good. Carrie and I will keep working on that.
All right.
You know you love it.
I said just do it.
We didn't have anybody sign in to speak.
Senior Plaza and Carrie Ford.
I just had a couple things under public recognition. One, I would urge all school board members to go to the state convention if you can make time. I mean, it was great networking, and especially with Jamie Nutter from CISA 3 hosted a night event where all of the CISA 3 school board members were invited, the superintendents, etc. So we got to hear, you know, everything that's going on, whether it's you know, financial, you know, we got to hear about how schools are struggling to, you know, field athletic teams and the like. So it was just a great opportunity, as well as obviously learning that you're not the only school district that's having financial challenges.
In fact, Baird was telling people at the convention that as of next November, over 90% of public schools will be reliant on an operating referendum to keep the lights on. Over 90%. So we have 421 school districts. So 90%. We happen to be one of those schools that went out there first, and everybody's like, well, you guys don't need this. And now if you open up a newspaper, you're going to see schools going for operating referendum this April and next November. And so that's the overall percentage is over 90%. And I don't think that's how the state had planned public education many years ago.
So, thank you. New business.
No one else signed in.
Nobody signed in.
Approve the date and time of the March meeting. It's currently the 18th at 6. Is there any need to change? Hearing none, we'll move on to B. Approve the HOSA club for Cuba City High School students.
Chris, you want to take this one?
Yeah, so HOSA is an organization very similar to FBLA, FCCLA, FFA. HOSA focuses on the healthcare. And so we have, I put out I was approached by Assertion about starting a chapter here in Cuba City. I reached out to students. I've got right now 10 students who are interested in starting up, and I think we needed 5 to get the club off the ground. We have double that, so I think that we should, I would recommend that we move forward with it. Coming from my EMT background, I think this is a great opportunity.
Great. Is there anything you would like to add out there, Mary Jean?
Well, HOSA is actually statewide. I used to be the president at the Southwest Tech when I was in nursing school. And so anyway, so I just thought that it would be a great opportunity, and they received a grant this last year to actually fund development of school emergency response teams. And so we have an opportunity to take students to UW Stevens Point and Mid-State Technical College in Stevens Point this summer, and to have them trained in actually certified in first aid, CPR, and AED skills. And then they, like if an emergency would happen at the school, the intent is to develop just a confidence in students to actually be like a first responder here at the school before the ambulance would come. And I ran actually we did, this is my husband Paul, and we ran a summer camp that did the same throughout the state of Wisconsin for almost 20 years. And we have some amazing stories of things that have happened at schools and where the students were trained, and they actually, the adults sometimes got really anxious when something happened, but the students were trained and were able to go ahead and to take care of the emergency situation. So in fact, I was telling Mr. Sander about one of the students in Chippewa Falls had cut off their finger in shop class, and the students who were trained had it stop the bleeding, had it bandaged, had it dated, timed, and everything before the ambulance even got there. And so the ambulances just thought it was an amazing thing for these students to. Plus then, like with all of your emergency preparedness initiatives at the school, when students are trained to be responders and to know that, then they're going to be able to inform the emergency response team here at the school, whoever is running that. And we've found that throughout the years that it's been very, very valuable for the schools who have been involved. So,
Thank you. Board, what do you,
I think it's a great idea.
would you like to move?
Yeah, I will move. I can find the right line here.
How about I make it?
Yeah,
I move
go
to
ahead.
approve, you got it?
No, go ahead.
I move to
I'll make
approve
it.
the HOSA Club for Cuba City High School students as presented.
I will second.
All right, Schweigert,
Yes.
Joel,
Yes.
Barth,
Yes.
Hinderman, yes, Bowden,
Yes.
Andrews.
Yes,
Motion carried.
thank you.
thank you.
Item C is approve the CCHS Media Club for Cuba City High School students.
Yeah, so we got the class off the ground, and Miss Sitz has taken it over and she's doing a great job with it. We're not quite at a point where we would have two classes. That was kind of our thought. Initially, we would have an introductory class and then a high level class. We're not there yet. So talking with Miss Sitz, kind of our best scenario right now is to create a club for the kids. So as a junior, they would take the class, and then as a senior, they would join the club. And we would actually start right out at the beginning of the year with our football and our volleyball, and they would be able to broadcast those games. Kind of like what they're doing right now. About this time of the year is where they start doing the live broadcasts. So the seniors would have all that experience, would then start out at the beginning of the year and not repeat the class again. And
It also opens up for another elective.
Yep.
Questions, board? Would somebody,
I have a couple questions.
Go ahead.
Do we have enough? First and foremost, I am thoroughly impressed with the audio on the huddle for sports right now. Like, it's incredible. So whatever Miss Sitz is doing with that, kudos to her, because
You got a new
It's-
software program that
It
last
is
year's did
amazing.
not work as well. This year's working much better.
yeah, they do a fantastic job. I'm impressed with their research they do. They're really knocking it out of the park. I think my question is turning it to a club
is that going to defer kids from participating because they're going to have to participate outside of school hours? I just don't want them to commit their junior year and then leave you high and dry their senior year for such a commitment.
Part of the reason that
Based
we came up with
thing.
this, we had a lot of the kids who are juniors right now ask, they're like, what do? We want to do this next year. We want to, but we know that right now this is the only class that we have.
Okay.
So with that's based off of that, is why we came up with this idea that we would still be able to.
And they'll still participate in a club being outside
Yes.
school hours?
A lot of schools do kind of,
Okay.
that's what they do is it's a club.
Most of what they're doing for this class is already out of normal school hours. And so then we would meet during school hours or potentially a little bit after. And then, you know, the
Okay.
games would be when they would be actually doing broadcasting, which is what they're doing now.
If there's no other questions, there is a motion here if somebody would make.
I'll move to approve the CCHS Media Club for Cuba City High School students as presented.
Is there a second?
I will second.
I'll second.
I'll give it to you, Angie.
Angie got her.
All right, Schweigert,
Yes.
Joel,
Yes.
Barth,
Yes.
Hinderman, yes, Bowden,
Yes.
Andrews,
Yes.
motion carried.
Next item is approve FFA overnight trip to South Dakota State University, March 26th through the 8th.
Yep, all overnight trips have to be approved by the board. This is just another FFA trip that Jill's going to be taking them on, so
It is a competition.
this is a competition.
Okay.
They actually get to tour the university when they're there, but it is a competition.
In what?
I believe it's with the dairy
Okay.
and beef.
All right, thank you. Would somebody like to make that motion?
I'll move to approve the FFA overnight trip to South Dakota State University, March 26th to 28th.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Schweigert,
Yes.
Joel,
Yes.
Barth,
Yes.
Hinderman, yes, Bowden,
Yes.
Andrews,
Yes.
motion carried.
And then approve the 26, 27, 27, 28 school district calendars.
Yep, so the last couple months, we've talked about that and how we want to use Friday PD time. And we did send a survey out to both teachers and to parents. And overwhelmingly, the parents favored the Friday early release time, which is why we didn't approve it last month. So did have that raw data in there for you. So we're approving the 26, 27, and 27, 28 with the Friday early release calendars.
So are there questions, board?
I have one, Aaron. Do we ever hear about approval to start before the first, or are we still?
Didn't go anywhere, no.
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 Okay.
Now, there's still like maybe a week left in the legislative session, but from what I've heard, that's not getting any traction. And I was surprised when we put that in. If you look at the parent results, I put that in just to see if parents would like if it was available. It was about half and half, that 40-40, like yes, start before September 1, no, don't. And then 20 was either way is fine. I thought a lot of people would go before, as that allows for more frequent breaks during the school year, but it was about 40-40-20.
Thank you for doing the survey.
Yep.
Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve the 2026, 2027, and 2027, 2028 Cuba City School District calendars as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Schweigert,
Yes.
Joel,
Yes.
Barth,
Yes.
Hinderman, yes, Bowden,
Yes.
Andrews,
Yes.
motion carried.
Item F is approve the purchase of motivational speaker services for grades 6-12. Cuba City High School graduate and author Matt Booth.
Yep. We've looked at having Matt in here a couple times in the past, and he does some large group presentation, but he also works with kids throughout the day. So we're looking forward to this being a really good activity for our kids. We used to bring in some type of speaker each year, and in the last 2 years, we haven't done that just because of budget cuts. But I recommend that we approve this.
Are there any questions?
So where does this get funded from then? Is this part of that principal?
Part of the
budget?
principal budget.
Okay.
Yep.
Would somebody care to make that motion?
I'll move to approve the purchase of motivational speaker services for grades 6-12 CCHS graduate and author Matt Booth.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Schweigert,
Yes.
Joel,
Yes.
Barth,
Yes.
Hinderman, yes. Bowden,
Yes.
Andrews,
Yes.
motion carried.
Then we're to G, approving exiting the co-op with Southwestern and Benton for boys golf and forming a Cuba City High School boys golf team.
Yeah, Coach Lawson is here to talk a little bit more about that. I'll turn it over to you.
We want to exit the co-op. Coach Ham 2 years ago said, what are the chances that with our numbers, we could look at being a standalone program? And it was right after we renewed, and we renewed for, many years based on, it made sense. And I shared some of the information with you. Dustin kept asking, he's like, are we ready to do that? And I said, yes, we are. So I'm gonna let him share a little bit just about what the numbers look like. But bottom line is this allows for more Cuba City boys to participate in golf, which it has actually been when golf is like no other sport, but at the same time, the better golfers get the spots. And there are limited spots because there's just the teams that participate in the JV and varsity. It's not an unlimited roster. So if you would want to share a little bit about what you foresee with the numbers, that'd be great.
Put me on the spot, okay.
Well, I already asked you about it.
That's
You
just having worked with the juniors program, over the next 3 years of incoming SOFITs, 8th, 7th, and 6th graders, we have between, when I got updated numbers from Josh Smith, who runs that program, we have between 14 and 20 junior golfers coming up through, and that might have included the 5th grade as well. But it's safe to say that Cuba City has golfers coming up. And it's also, there's current high schoolers who have told me that they don't go out because of the co-op, because there is a lot of golfers to compete with spots. And I think the split not only helps us, but also helps, the other schools, Southwestern and Benton, who also have kids not going out because of the co-op. I think both schools will easily be able to put out golf teams for both the varsity and JV levels.
Sustainability looks good. I've been in contact with Tom Keller over at Southwestern for the last year and a half, and they are already, expecting this to pass. No pressure on anybody to say yes, but that they are already looking at keeping Benton involved. Benton has not had a few golfers for a few years, but they're happy to be a part of something just in case. So no one's losing out. That was something that I was hesitant on. I'm like, we don't want anyone to be left stranded. So they're looking at that as well, to be a part of golf still, just if we do pass the transition.
Thank you for addressing that.
Yeah.
Questions, board?
Has there been any discussion with Cole Acres as far as tee time availability, match days, that kind of stuff? If you have two school programs now, and you do get extended golfers, I just, having personal experience out there, Cole Acres doesn't charge anything for the school teams, if people don't know that. They close down for the days of the meets, all the practice times, they shut down the simulators, and they donate that all to the schools. I'd just be concerned there's enough time in the day for them to
This would not take place until next year.
Well, either or,
Right,
but
right.
I would hope there would be some conversations with
And
them.
Dustin has had some conversations on it with the changeover, and Tom, I don't want to share some of the thoughts that Southwestern might look into also with adding a third team to a tryout, because I don't think I have the right to do that right now, and they might not even be a part of Cole Acres with that.
They're looking at Galena.
When I was a high school student, Southwestern's home course was
Yeah.
Eagle Ridge.
They would not be looking at Cole Acres when I talked to Tom today about it.
Just as long as somebody has to have that conversation with Cole Acres.
Any other questions? Would somebody move?
I'll move to approve the exiting the co-op with Southwestern and Benton for boys golf and forming a CCHS boys golf team as presented.
I'll second it.
Schweigert,
Yes.
Joel,
Yes.
Barth,
Yes.
Hinderman, yes. Bowden,
Yes.
Andrews,
Yes.
motion carried.
H is approved job descriptions for the extra duty positions that Mr. Olson sent out.
Yep, so we're going about 10 each month. This week, we'll be looking at Cuban Care Director, the Curriculum Director, Curriculum Team Lead position, extra curricular high school band and choir, FBLA Advisor, FCCLA Advisor, FFA Advisor, Forensics Advisor, Forensics Assistant Advisor, and Freshman Class Advisor. So these are sent out about a month ago. A lot of these people reach back and they're like, hey, can you add this or that? We've had a couple meetings where people, we just want some clarification on those things. So we go about 1 month at a time with those 10.
Thank you. Any questions of those 10 positions? Hearing none, would somebody make a motion?
I'll move to approve job descriptions for extra duty positions as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Schweigert,
Yes.
Joel,
Yes.
Barth,
Yes.
Hinderman, yes. Bowden,
Yes.
Andrews.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item I is approve a scheduled virtual day for the high school non-ACT testing grades on March 10th.
Yep, so as previously discussed, whenever there's a prearranged virtual day, we'll bring that to the board. So this would be just for grades 9, 10, and 12. This would be our only scheduled virtual day. As of right now, we've had 2 closures for snow days. We had a 2-hour delay that turned into a closure. We did that twice. We had 1 virtual day and that where all of Wisconsin closed down. And then we had 2 2-hour delays Wednesday and Thursday. So those are the times that we've missed out.
Any questions? Would somebody make a motion?
Do you foresee just making ACT Day every year a virtual day at this point? Or
So-
is that dependent?
Jason Derby and I have actually had some conversation around it. And so we do a boot camp leading up to the ACT, and we also do one for the pre-ACT. He and I have discussed about trying to figure out a way to have something to do during the testing for the freshmen. And it would probably still not include seniors, but freshmen and sophomore on ACT Day, if we could keep them busy doing something, especially once the new building's done. And then he would run that boot camp in the afternoon, so we would maybe have to do virtual for our senior class only. And potentially we'd look at maybe some field trip or a community activity for them that day as well. So we do have some plans.
We're still
in
trying.
place. Yeah.
Other questions? Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve a scheduled virtual day for CCHS for non-ACT testing grades on March 10th, 2026, as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I will second. Schweigert,
Yes.
Joel,
Yes.
Barth,
Yes.
Hinderman, yes. Bowden,
Yes.
Andrews.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item J is approve the FBLA overnight trip to Green Bay on April 13 and 14.
Yep, so it's the 13th and 14th of the event. So technically the overnight would be April 12th and 13th. Is that right, Chris?
Correct, yes.
Okay. And this is for FBLA, one of our new clubs.
Is there a motion to that effect?
I'll move to approve the FBLA overnight trip to Green Bay on April 12th and 13th. Is that the way you want it then?
Yes.
Yeah, sounds good.
A second.
Schweigert,
Yes.
Joel,
Yes.
Barth,
Yes.
Hinderman, yes. Bowden,
Yes.
Andrews.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Julie. Item K is approve the NASAL open door exchange student Lou Marie of Belgium for the 26-27 school year.
Yep, we usually have 1 to 3 foreign exchange students per year. So this is the first application that we've got that we're recommending for next year.
Any questions? Hearing none, would someone move?
I'll move to approve the NASAL Open Door Exchange student Lou Marie of Belgium for the 2026-2027 school year as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Schweigert,
Yes.
Joel,
Yes.
Barth,
Yes.
Hinderman, yes. Bowden,
Yes.
Andrews.
Yes.
Motion carried.
And personnel, A is approved the volunteer HOSA club advisor, Mary Jean Urshan.
Yep, as we talked about before, what that program is, we've got a volunteer advisor.
If there's no questions, I will move to approve the volunteer HOSA club advisor, Mary Jean Urshan, as presented. Is there a second?
I will happily second. Schweigert,
Yes.
Joel,
Yes.
Barth,
Yes.
Hinderman, yes. Bowden,
Yes.
Andrews,
Yes.
motion carried.
Item B is approved Mr. Sander as the volunteer media club advisor.
Same thing, we talked about that before, and Chris
Who would like to take Mr. Sander up on that offer?
I'll
move to approve Mr. Sanders, the volunteer and media club advisor as presented.
Is there a second?
I will second. Schweigert,
Yes.
Joel,
Yes.
Barth,
Yes.
Hinderman, yes. Bowden,
Yes.
Andrews,
Yes.
motion carried.
And item C is approved Miss Jolie Atkinson as a part-time driver.
Yep, this is for one of our students who'll be driving, are going to a different placement. And we've got this arranged already, and it's all set and ready to go. We're just waiting approval.
Are there any questions? Otherwise, we just go straight to motion here.
I'll move to approve Ms. Julie Atkinson as part-time driver as presented.
I'll second.
Schweigert,
Yes.
Joel,
Yes.
Barth,
Yes.
Hinderman, yes. Bowden,
Yes.
Andrews,
Yes.
motion carried.
Approve volunteer track and field coach Isabel Matthews.
Yeah, Coach Lawson and Coach Matthews asked that we approve this volunteer, and she's a CCHS grad and also a college athlete who's coming back to help mom, I believe.
I will make that motion to approve volunteer track and field coach Isabel Matthews as presented. Is there a second?
I will second. Schweigert,
Yes.
Joel,
Yes.
Barth,
Yes.
Hinderman, yes. Bowden,
Yes.
Andrews,
Yes.
motion carried.
Item E is approve volunteer track and field coach Kiefer Landis.
Yep, another recommendation from Coach Lawson and Coach Matthews to help with our students.
Is there a motion?
Is this a current employee or like a student teacher or anything like
He
that?
is not. Carrie, do you
He
know?
is on the track team with Isabel at Clark.
Okay.
I mean, I think she's done, they're done, or he will be done, but he's a pole vault person and we're short somebody with that event. And he won't be here all the time, but. we did
I was
all-
just wondering the connection piece of
Yes.
it. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
I was gonna say, I can vouch for him.
Somebody knows somebody. Is there a motion, board?
You want to make that motion, Megan?
Yeah, I'll move to approve volunteer track and field coach Kiefer Landis as presented.
Is there a second?
I will second.
Schweigert,
Yes.
Joel,
Yes.
Barth,
Yes.
Hinderman, yes. Bowden,
Yes.
Andrews,
Yes.
motion carried.
Committee reports, budget and finance. Is there, you last met quite a while ago. Is there any meeting needed?
Nope, but we are going to start our kind of monthly workshop. Heather and I will start that. That'll go to school board members, and then we found a spot on our webpage that Tina is going to put out just to have a bunch of information on how school finance is different than home and business finance. So we'll start that this month.
Okay. Building and grounds, I think we probably covered that. Personnel, there's a meeting.
March 25th.
March 25th. The time of that, maybe you already sent it, I guess.
I can check quick. March 25th, I think it's 6 o'clock.
I had it at
It's 6 to 8 o'clock, the meet and confer.
All right, thank you. Policy.
We got that scheduled for February 26th.
Okay. Technology and transportation.
We did get some new numbers from Davis Bus Line, so we're gonna have one of those meetings before we bring it to the board for a final vote in March. So we'll be looking for a date for that.
Okay, and that's for the 4th and 5th year of that.
4th and 5th year.
Okay. Foundation, there was a meeting, anything that wants to share with the board?
We met with our advisor, George Buchanan from Mountain City Bank, and like everybody, our funds had a good year. So no real changes were recommended. Joe?
Yep.
CISA 3, there was some talk amongst the members about schools that are struggling within our CISA, including the C word consolidation. And probably the only other thing I'd share is that we did approve a wage increase for the CISA employees at the July 2026 CPI level of I think it was 2.63. So that just FYI, that's what that number is that we'll potentially be looking at. So I don't have anything else.
I just have a couple of questions. So a couple months ago, I had asked about referendum monies coming back, like we were supposed to increase our curriculum budget this year. We haven't seen any updates on that. So
Yep.
where are we at with that?
So we didn't increase curriculum budget for this year because they needed this year to figure out their new plan. So I believe as in April, is Ellie coming back with a plan to how to get that from 7 years down to 5 years. So we already had it planned for this year. They'd already done that work for this year's purchase.
But didn't we say that we were going to increase it starting this school year? So I'm just wondering, we've said that in a referendum that was planned in part of our budget. So where's the money being spent at if we're not using it this year?
But that all comes out of Fund 10.
Or are we reserving it so that we can spend it in the future? I guess
Yeah,
that's my
so
question. Like
the
we
dif-
had planned
yeah.
for this. Where's that
The
money being
difference
spent
this year,
now?
we had some of those cycles that we have to, that ended on 5 years, but we need them for 2 more. And so that was the difference this year. We paid to extend those contracts that we
So,
hadn't paid the last
Okay,
two.
can we see, like, go back into our records for those meetings as what we were gonna spend in what years so that we can see where we're looking at
I think there was
these
discussion. I
items.
don't think we voted on like a specific.
But we did have years.
number.
We talked about when we were gonna bring back certain dollar amounts in certain years and how that referendum money was gonna be brought in. Because I really think it's important that we really look at, are we spending the money the way we said we were going to? Because we said we were going to and we haven't, so I wanna know where that money's at. And then I really think we need to do a needs assessment at all levels to really assess the needs, to see if what we had planned 2 years ago is where we need to spend those dollars yet. I'm not discounting any piece, but I want to make sure, because I think things have changed in the last year and a half, 2 years, that I think we need to make sure that we are addressing some of those changes, and do we need to reallocate some of those dollars? Because that curriculum money, I think, could be reallocated in other high need areas right now if we have it. I feel like we're at a standstill with some of these things. We talk about it, but it never comes back up. And I just want to make sure that we're following through as a board, that we're making sure that what we're promising our taxpayers is what's actually happening. So I think I would like to just know, where is this money? Where did it go? What are we spending it on if we're not spending it on curriculum or this year? Because it was $125,000 if I'm not mistaken.
That's what it will be moving forward. So when we shrink it from 7 years, well, 125 is.
That was not that. That was a different plan there.
So there's 2 different things. We're talking about the curriculum team, like that money is in that 125. So
That was not that 125. That was the bringing back curriculum into the classrooms was part of that. And then we did talk about going from a 7-year to a 5-year. But again, the board hasn't been included on any of that conversation, or I haven't been updated on
So
that.
you'd like to have like a chart on here's what we've spent
Yeah.
on that, and then here's.
And
what
I
this-
thought it was this school year that we were supposed to see an extra $125,000 being brought into our classrooms as curriculum. If we haven't done that, where's that money at?
Right. So the short answer is that 90,000 that I think this year we spent 90 on, or is it 80,
75.
75? Which do you remember which
World
curriculum team is on there?
language, Computer science and guidance.
Okay.
And then we allocated an additional $25,000 for expired license or subscriptions due to the pause with
For the last couple of years.
So that's $100,000 plus.
It's about,
Paying,
yeah.
all the leads and the director and things like that.
Okay, so we can come up with that, look at past years
I
and how
just
much
think
is
it's
spent.
important that we look at that schedule as to when we were bringing these things back in, because I know on the horizon, you're talking about hiring another office personnel. Well, are there bigger needs that we need to maybe think about filling in before we fill that? I mean, should that money be allocated elsewhere because things have changed in the last year and a half? Not saying we don't need it. I'm just saying I think we need to look at a needs assessment, and I think each building principal needs to come up with a list of what are their high needs right now, and maybe we would be surprised to see that needs have changed in the last year and a half. Because I think we are on schedule to release quite a bit of money in this next school year because of that referendum. I just want to make sure that we are providing the best for our district in the areas that need it. And our focus needs to be our students. And I want to make sure our students are taken care of.
Thanks.
Anything else? All right. Take a motion to adjourn.
I will move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I will second. All in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
But then, no, not at all.
You can have an open doorway right there.
Nope.
Always.